I'm going to introduce the next guest, which is Valerie. So this is Valerie McKnight. She's from Sacramento, California. And I'm going to let Ann let you mute and Valerie unmute. And we're going to, let's see, Valerie was diagnosed with Takayasu's in October 2021. And there is a story about some heart involvement. So I'm going to let you tell that story, Valerie.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm new to the vasculitis community and I'm part of a support group that meets every Wednesday. So I've met with Tori and Ann online in our Zoom meetings. And, I'm familiar with the vasculitis community having heart attack issues, that it's kind of a thing within the vasculitis community. So being new to this whole thing and learning about my own disease and kind of taking in all this information has been very helpful and very important. So in December of this last year, on December 27th, 2 days after Christmas, I was at home just relaxing, watching some TV, and all of a sudden I got a chest pain that was like a muscle just seizing in my chest. And it was like something grabbed a hold of me and wouldn't let go. And I didn't know what it was. And I started to try to breathe through it, and it was just getting tighter and worse. And I thought, no, I'm just not going to do this, by myself. So I went and found my husband, who was downstairs, and he looked at me. I told him I was having a really bad chest pain. And again, being familiar with the vasculitis community and the heart attacks being kind of a thing, we were trying to figure out if I was having a heart attack, and I was trying to breathe through it. My husband was trying to keep me focused, and it's a fearful place to be in because you don't really know what's going on, and you're in this moment of pain. I mean, I was doubled over. I couldn't hardly breathe. I was breathing really shallow. And I was just trying to keep it together. And then I saw Ann's little face, this Ann right here. And all I could remember was her story of 3 heart attacks and about taking it seriously. And her little face was just popping up in the corner, of my room, of the mind, it was there. And I looked at my husband and I said, we need to call 911. And so that's what we did. We called 911. The ambulance came out. It's interesting having Takayasu's because people are not able to find a blood pressure or a pulse. So it's kind of strange right away. So paramedics couldn't find a pulse or, blood pressure, and they're kind of whispering to each other, can't get a pulse. Can you see if you can get a pulse? And the next one would, I was just being passed around the room kind of, and had to explain to them about Takayasu's a little bit, because another thing is nobody's ever heard of it because it's quite rare. So they did end up taking me to the emergency room and to the hospital. I got excellent care. I was diverted from 2 different hospitals because of COVID. Finally, landed at a third hospital. When I got there were 130 patients waiting to get in. I mean, there were people just everywhere. And I knew this because the paramedics and the nurses were saying we have 130 patients waiting. And somebody was watching over me because the paramedic said, we can't get a pulse and we can't get a blood pressure. She's got something called Takayasu's. And because it was a heart issue and a possible heart attack, I got right in. They just took me right up to the front of the line. There was no waiting, no nothing. And I got a room immediately. So I was in really good hands. I felt really good about that. So, they took a lot of tests, did echocardiograms, did a lot of different things. They ended up letting me go after about 6 hours. The doctor made me promise that I would see my doctor within 2 days, which I did. And then within a month, my doctor was going to schedule a CT angio, but within a month, on January 19th, I had another episode at home, same exact thing, relaxing at home, watching TV. And this time I was equipped with nitroglycerin. So I felt like, I had it together if anything was to happen. And it just didn't work out that way for me. I took the nitroglycerin, waited 5 minutes like I was told. It didn't ease up. I took a second one. It didn't ease up. And I was told, you do not wait for the third one. You call 911. So that's what we did again. I went back to the emergency room and had all the tests and everything. And I was only there for a couple of hours this time. I was really fortunate to get into a hospital that my cardiologist was affiliated with. So the ER doc was texting my cardiologist. So that was really good. And they did some tests and things, but the numbers seemed to be good. So they told me I could go home. I think the other thing too is they didn't want me to have to stay any longer because the hospital was just jammed with COVID patients. So much so that they didn't even put me in the waiting room to wait for the test results. The nurse had me sit at the nurse's station with him because he thought it would be safer for me. And I'm ever so grateful to him as well, that he was watching out for me. So I ended up having a CT angio on my birthday, January 27th, which I thought was a really good sign. And the CT angio came back clean. No blockages, no cholesterol, no calcium, no narrowing. My cardiologist said that my heart was good and that my heart was strong. And he said, unfortunately, my heart was an innocent bystander in this disease process that I was experiencing. So I'm comforted in that. I'm comforted knowing that I wasn't having heart attacks. But again, I took it seriously hearing Anne's story, especially having 3 heart attacks. And knowing to take it seriously, like you can't really be the one to judge what's happening or not happening. Are you having a heart attack? Are you not having a heart attack? You just have to go and, get the medical attention and let them decide, let the experts decide what's happening and what's going on, and then take it from there.
Well, Valerie, thank you so much for your story. It's so interesting how it interrelates with Anne. And
I know.
And also, interestingly enough, it came from you participating in the Vasculitis Foundation support group forum, right? And can you tell us about how people would access that so other people can do this?
I went to the Vasculitis Foundation website, and in the beginning when I was diagnosed with Takayasu's, I didn't know anything about it, had never heard about it like anybody else. And even a lot of doctors have never heard about it. So I went to YouTube to see if I could find patients that had Takayasu's. And there was a video of 2 women talking about Takayasu's, and it was from the Vasculitis Foundation website. So that keyed me into that. And then I saw that they had a support group. And so that kind of led me to sign up for the group meetings.
So that's exactly what I wanted you to say. So I'm glad you did. We want people to go to the Vasculitis Foundation website to learn about the patient support groups and forums. I've heard so many stories over the last 2 years about how helpful they are.